Welcome to the Eat This Book podcast. I'm Michael Whitworth. Each day we take a small piece of scripture and we sit with it. Not a quick snack that disappears before lunch, not a chore you check off of a list, but rather a meal meant to be savored. So pull up a chair. Let's eat. In 1854, London was dying of cholera. The disease swept through the Broad Street neighborhood in Soho, killing over 600 people in a matter of weeks. Nobody knew where it was coming from. The prevailing theory was bad air. Miasma, they called it. But a physician named John Snow traced the outbreak to a single contaminated water pump. He didn't just identify the source, he removed the handle from the pump. The contamination was cut off. The dying slowed and then stopped. One act, targeted at the right source, changed everything. The writer of Hebrews has been stacking cosmic descriptions of the sun for 2.5 verses. Creator, heir, radiance, exact imprint, sustainer of the universe. And then, without warning, the letter pivots from the cosmic to the personal, from the architecture of the universe to the interior of the human soul, after making purification for sins. 5 words, and everything shifts. Notice the abruptness. The sentence has been ascending, each phrase lifting the sun higher, wider, further into the infinite. He radiates God's glory. He bears God's exact nature. He carries the universe by His word. You expect the next phrase to go higher still. Instead, it plunges downward, into sin, into the mess, into the one problem that glory and power and creative authority alone cannot solve. The writer knows exactly what he's doing. The contrast is the point. The one who holds the cosmos together is the same one who deals with your guilt. The hand that sustains every atom is the hand that cleanses every stain. Hebrews refuses to let you separate the Son's majesty from His mercy. They belong to the same person, expressed in the same breath. The word purification in Greek, it would have rung with deep resonance for the letter's Jewish audience. This is the language of the Day of Atonement, the holiest day in Israel's calendar. Once a year, the high priest entered the most holy place with the blood of a sacrifice. He sprinkled that blood on the mercy seat, the gold lid of the Ark of the Covenant, to make purification for the nation's sins. The ritual was elaborate, fearful, and annual. Every year, the same priest, the same blood, the same entrance behind the curtain, because the purification never held. It covered sin, but it didn't remove the source. Hebrews will spend chapters unpacking this, the superiority of Christ's priesthood, the inadequacy of animal sacrifice, the new covenant written on hearts instead of stone. But here, at the very beginning, the writer drops the conclusion before the argument. The Son made purification for sins. Past tense. It's completed. Not makes purification as an ongoing ritual, not will make purification as a future hope, but made. The handle has been removed from the pump. And notice the phrase is purification for sins, not purification for sin. The plural matters. This is not an abstract theological transaction dealing with the general concept of human fallenness. It is purification for sins, specific, concrete, nameable acts. The lie you told, the relationship you broke, the thing you did that still surfaces at 2 a.m. when the house is quiet. The Son's purification is not too lofty to touch the particular. It reaches into specifics. There's also a striking absence in this phrase. No mention of how. No blood, no cross, no suffering, at least not yet. The writer simply states the fact. Purification was made. The details will come later, in some of the most vivid and theologically dense chapters in the New Testament. The opening sentence doesn't wait for the explanation. It announces the result. Whatever the cost, and it was staggering, the work is done. The word after deserves its own moment. After making purification for sins, He sat down. The purification precedes the enthronement. The Son didn't sit down and then deal with sin from a distance. He dealt with sin first, personally, bodily, at terrible cost, and then He took His seat. The sequence tells you something about this Son's priorities. Before the throne, the basin. Before the crown, the cross. Before the glory of sitting at God's right hand, the gore of becoming the sacrifice. This is what separates the Son from every other figure in Israel's worship. Angels are glorious, but they never atoned. Moses was faithful, but he never purified. The high priest entered the most holy place once a year, but he came back out because the job was never finished. The Son made purification and sat down, and the sitting, as we'll see in the next episode, means the work is complete. There is no encore, no annual return, no second handle to remove. Here's what I think we should savor from this passage. First, the highest Christology in the New Testament leads directly to the most personal act of rescue. Hebrews doesn't build an impressive portrait of the Son and then leave you admiring it from across the room. It builds the portrait so you'll understand who it is that deals with your sin. The creator of the ages, the radiance of God's glory, the sustainer of the universe, that is the one who made purification for you. The scale of the person determines the sufficiency of the act. Second, purification is not maintenance. The Day of Atonement was annual because the cleansing was temporary. What the Son accomplished was not another cycle in an endless rotation. It was completion. The verb is past tense, and Hebrews will not let you drag it back into the present as an unfinished project. It is done. Third, the cosmic Son entered the mess. That sequence, glory, then gore, is not an interruption in the letter's logic. It is the logic. A Son who only radiated glory would be admirable but unreachable. A Son who only dealt with sin would be helpful but limited. This Son does both in the same sentence, because both belong to the same mission. If you carry guilt that you've never been able to shake, the kind that theology hasn't touched because it lives deeper than your intellect, in your gut, in your 2 a.m. silence, this phrase was written for that exact place. Purification for sins, plural, specific. The Son's work reaches the particular thing you cannot forget. If you've been performing your way toward cleanliness, trying to be good enough, serve enough, apologize enough to finally feel forgiven, Hebrews gently removes that weight from your shoulders. The purification was made by the Son, not manufactured by you. Your effort to earn it is an attempt to remove a handle that has already been taken off the pump. If you believe God forgives in general, but struggles to believe He forgives you in particular, if grace is a doctrine you affirm but not a river you've stepped into, the past tense of this verb is everything. He made purification. Not He offers purification if you can meet the conditions. Not He makes purification available pending further review. He made it. For sins, including yours. If you've been stuck in a cycle, same confession, same failure, same shame, and it feels like nothing ever actually changes, the writer of Hebrews wants you to know that the repetition is not evidence that the purification didn't work. The Day of Atonement was annual because it didn't hold. The Son's purification holds. Your struggles with sin, they're real, but it's happening on ground that has already been cleansed. You're fighting from victory, not toward it. If you've watched someone you love drown in shame, unable to receive forgiveness, unable to believe that they're clean, you know that purification is not just a theological concept, it's a lifeline. And sometimes the best thing that you can do is sit with them in the silence and say what Hebrews says. It's done. He made purification. The handle is off the pump. Next time on Eat This Book, after everything, creation, glory, and the purification of sins, the Son does something no priest ever did. He sits down. Join me in Hebrews 1 again as we discover why that single act changes everything. Thanks for reading with me. Until next time, may the Word dwell in you richly.